Most people over 60 start their morning with the same familiar routine. They wake up, head to the kitchen, and reach for the same foods they've been eating for decades. It feels healthy. It feels normal. But what if I told you that some of the most common breakfast choices, the ones sitting in millions of kitchens right now, are quietly working against your kidneys every single morning without you ever realizing it? Well, I'm Dr. Naira Stein, your senior health and wellness consultant. And if you're over 60 and you care about your long-term health, and I know you do because you're here, I want you to stay with me for the next few minutes. What we're going to talk about today is something most doctors simply don't have enough time to explain in a standard appointment. And it matters more than you might think. Your kidneys are asking for your attention. Let's give it to them. Before we talk about food, let me remind you of something important about these two organs you carry quietly inside you. Your kidneys filter roughly 200 liters of blood every single day. They manage your blood pressure, maintain the balance of minerals your heart depends on, produce hormones that regulate your red blood cells, and act as your body's most sophisticated waste management system. They do all of this without a single complaint, until one day they can't anymore. And by then, the damage is often years in the making. Here's what changes after 60. The kidneys age along with the rest of the body. Nephrons, the microscopic filtering units inside each kidney, gradually reduce in number. Blood flow to the kidneys decreases. The organs become less efficient at handling large burdens of sodium, protein, and certain minerals. A younger kidney might recover easily from dietary stress. An older kidney carries those insults forward. And the most consistent source of that stress for millions of older adults? Breakfast. The very first meal of the day. Let's talk about the first food, and this one tends to surprise people because it has an image of being wholesome and hearty. Processed breakfast meats. Bacon, sausage links, cured ham, breakfast deli slices. These products are staples in countless morning routines. They're convenient, they're familiar, and for many people they carry warm associations with family breakfasts and weekend mornings. But inside that slice of bacon or that link of sausage is a level of sodium that your aging kidneys are genuinely not built to handle comfortably, especially at the very start of the day. A single 2-strip serving of cured bacon can carry anywhere from 400 to 600 milligrams of sodium. A few sausage links can push that even higher. And here's why that number matters so much specifically after 60. The kidneys are responsible for filtering excess sodium from the blood and excreting it through the urine. But aging, kidneys do this more slowly and less completely than younger ones. When a large sodium load arrives first thing in the morning, before the body has had time to fully rehydrate from sleep, before blood pressure has fully stabilized, the kidneys have to work significantly harder to compensate. Over time, this repeated morning sodium burden contributes to elevated blood pressure, which in turn damages the delicate blood vessels inside the kidneys themselves. The retinal-like network of capillaries that feeds the nephrons begins to stiffen and narrow. Filtration becomes less efficient. The cycle accelerates. And most people never connect their breakfast plate to the gradual changes in their kidney function reported at their annual checkup. Beyond sodium, processed meats carry preservatives, nitrates and nitrites in particular, as well as compounds formed during curing and smoking that research has linked to increased oxidative stress and inflammation in the body. For a kidney, that is, already managing more inflammation than it did at 40, this is an additional burden it simply doesn't need at 7 in the morning. The better choice is a protein source that nourishes without adding chemical stress. Eggs from a trusted source, plain Greek yogurt, or even a small serving of fish. Your kidneys will feel the difference, even if you can't. Now let's talk about the second food, and this one is particularly close to many seniors' hearts because it seems like the definition of a healthy breakfast. Certain packaged cereals and instant oat products, specifically the flavored, pre-sweetened varieties. I want to be careful here because I am not suggesting that all oats or all cereals are harmful. Plain, whole oats, cooked simply, are genuinely good for you. But the flavored instant oatmeal packets, the ones with apple cinnamon, brown sugar, maple, or vanilla printed on the label, and the brightly colored boxed cereals marketed toward adults as heart-healthy options deserve much more scrutiny than they typically receive. The issue is threefold. First, many of these products contain surprisingly high amounts of added sugar, sometimes 10, 15, or even 18 grams per serving. When you consume that much sugar first thing in the morning, blood glucose rises sharply. The pancreas responds with insulin. And for older adults, particularly those with any degree of insulin resistance or prediabetes, which is far more common after 60 than most people realize, that glucose spike triggers a cascade of inflammation that reaches every organ system, including the kidneys. Persistent high blood sugar is one of the leading drivers of diabetic kidney disease, and it doesn't require a formal diabetes diagnosis to begin causing microscopic damage. Second, many packaged breakfast cereals and flavored oat products contain phosphate additives. These are used as preservatives, texture agents, and flavor enhancers. And unlike the naturally occurring phosphorus found in whole foods, synthetic phosphate additives are absorbed by the body at a much higher rate, sometimes close to 100%. For people with healthy, younger kidneys, this excess is managed and excreted without much trouble. But for aging kidneys with reduced capacity, elevated phosphate levels in the blood contribute to vascular stiffening, bone mineral loss, and accelerated kidney damage. It is a harm that builds invisibly, meal by meal, over years. Third, many of these products are higher in sodium than their packaging suggests. The sweet flavor masks the salt, making it easy to consume a meaningful sodium load without ever tasting it. When you read the nutrition label on a flavored instant oatmeal packet and see 250 or 300 milligrams of sodium in a single small serving, that is not a trivial number for a kidney that is already working harder than it did a decade ago. The fix here is simple and genuinely satisfying. Cook plain rolled oats yourself, sweeten them lightly with a small amount of fresh fruit, a modest drizzle of honey, or a pinch of cinnamon. Add a handful of walnuts for healthy fats. You lose nothing of the warmth and comfort. You gain everything in terms of what your kidneys need to start the day well. And now the third breakfast food, and this is the one I find myself explaining most often in conversations with patients who are genuinely trying to eat well and simply don't have the full picture. High potassium fruit juices and large servings of certain fresh fruits consumed first thing in the morning. Once again, let me be precise, because context matters enormously here. Fruits are not the enemy. A small piece of whole fruit is generally beneficial for most older adults. But a large glass of orange juice, grapefruit juice, or tomato juice, or a bowl piled high with bananas, oranges, and dried apricots is a very different matter. Here's the reason. Potassium is an essential mineral, and your heart, muscles, and nerves all depend on it. But potassium, like sodium and phosphate, must be tightly regulated in the blood. That regulation is almost entirely managed by the kidneys. When kidney function is fully healthy, excess potassium is filtered out and excreted efficiently. When kidney function has declined even moderately, which happens gradually and often silently after 60, potassium can begin to accumulate in the blood, a condition called hyperkalemia. And hyperkalemia is not a condition to take lightly. Even mildly elevated potassium levels affect the electrical rhythm of the heart. Muscle weakness follows. In more serious elevations, the consequences become dangerous very quickly. The problem is that most people with early or moderate kidney decline have no idea their kidneys are struggling to keep up. They feel fine. They eat a large glass of orange juice every morning because they've been told it's full of vitamin C and natural goodness, and it is. But the potassium load in a single 12-ounce glass of orange juice is substantial, arriving all at once in a concentrated liquid form that is absorbed far faster than the potassium in a whole piece of fruit. Grapefruit presents an additional concern beyond potassium. It contains compounds that interfere with a specific group of liver enzymes responsible for metabolizing many common medications, including several prescribed regularly to older adults for blood pressure, cholesterol, and heart conditions. If you are taking any of these medications and drinking grapefruit juice in the morning, the levels of those drugs in your bloodstream can rise significantly higher than intended. This is not a rare or theoretical interaction. It is well documented, and it is worth discussing with your physician if grapefruit is part of your regular morning routine. A more kidney-friendly approach to morning fruit is smaller portions of lower potassium options. Berries of all kinds are excellent, as are apples, grapes, and pears. If you love citrus, a small whole orange provides fiber that slows potassium absorption and is far gentler on the kidneys than a full glass of juice. And if your doctor has already flagged any concern about your kidney function or your potassium levels, this is a conversation to have with them directly, because individual needs vary. What I want you to take from all of this is not fear. Fear is not useful, and it is certainly not what I'm offering you. What I'm offering is clarity, the kind that allows you to make small, informed adjustments to something as ordinary as your morning meal and genuinely shift the direction of your kidney health over the months and years ahead. Your kidneys have been faithful to you for 6 or more decades. They have filtered, balanced, regulated, and protected without rest or recognition. After 60, they simply need you to meet them a little more than halfway. That means being thoughtful about sodium at breakfast. It means choosing whole, unprocessed foods over packaged convenience. It means understanding that some of the habits that felt healthy for years may need gentle updating as your body changes. None of this requires a dramatic overhaul of your life. It requires attention. It requires the willingness to look at your breakfast table with fresh eyes and ask what those foods are doing for you, or to you, at this particular stage of your life. Your kidneys don't ask for much. They don't cause pain when they're struggling. They don't send obvious signals until the situation has already become serious. But they do respond, quietly and faithfully, to the way you nourish your body each day. And the morning, that first meal, that first choice, is where that response begins. Start there. Start tomorrow morning. Your kidneys have been waiting patiently, and they are worth the effort.